Hello, hello. We are kind of live. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I am here with you in spirit and in truth. This is another premiere. Remember, we talked about this a few weeks ago. We are premiering a few of our sessions this year. Listen, we did this last month and we were so active in the comments. So I want to see you. I want to hear you. I'm going to be in the comments when I can. I definitely will be in there with you. But drop me a comment. Let me know what you got going on. Super excited that you are here. We are going to get this thing going. If I can get this microphone, if I can get this microphone going, we're going to get going today. Hope you're doing well. Let me know how you're doing. Drop me a comment. Listen, if you're new to me, welcome, welcome, welcome. Beautiful, beautiful community. Y'all show our new folks some love. We are here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your girl Kelly with an I, Jackson, giving you all of the career information, tips, trends, insights, all that good stuff for those that are midlife, thinking about a transition, a pivot, or making a move, or elevating and going to the next level in your career. So tonight, what we're doing tonight, we're going to talk about having a signal or a sign out there that says, I'm open to work. There's a huge debate going on whether or not this is a desperation move or is this a strategic move? Let's talk about it. Is this a desperation move or a strategic move? Let me see what you say. Drop in the comments first before we get started. Do you think putting out there to your network, to your loved ones, to your family, to your friends, to your coworkers, former and perhaps current, that you're open to work, is that a sign of desperation or is it a strategic move? What's your thoughts? Drop in the comments. Let me know. Let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get into this. I got a little presentation for us. We're going to add this to the stage. And listen, we're going to talk tonight about the true impact of using open to work in your job search. Does this help or hurt you? Let's talk about it. So let me see. Can I move this little thing? I don't know if y'all can see this little thing in the way here. Open to work. Now on LinkedIn, they have what we call, in recruiters' side, we call it the green scarf, right? And so when the pandemic hit, what happened was, there were people, of course, that were furloughed and laid off and some fired, which was horrific. And some people are still rebounding from that, right? And so that came about and people put the green circle on there. And so this marked a small green frame on profile pictures. It has sparked considerable discussion recently and debate since its introduction in 2020, with opinions varying widely on its effectiveness and impact. So let's talk about it. So is this a desperation move? There was an article last October that says, hey, don't use LinkedIn's open to work, the sign said. This is a former Google recruiter. She said it feels like desperation. She said the use of LinkedIn's green open to work badge has been perceived by some as a sign of desperation for employment, which they believe may negatively influence recruiters' perceptions. This viewpoint has triggered significant backlash from users on the LinkedIn platform, with numerous members asserting that, hey, this feature has been instrumental in increasing their visibility and helping them to secure a job. So there is an alternative, though. If you don't want to put that green circle on there, or the green scarf, as it's lovingly known as for recruiters, there's an alternative. If you are in search of employment and you're currently working, there is, and I did a whole video on this. You can check it out on the YouTube channel. You can do a search for LinkedIn back end, because I took you behind the scenes of what recruiters, what they look for and how they look, and some of the filters. And this right here, this alternative, it provides a more subtle this LinkedIn feature is more subtle. It's called open to recruiters versus open to work. So I'm just open for recruiters, not, don't put me out there on blast. Setting it in your profile, and you can do this discreetly, right? This option allows you to indicate your interest in new job opportunities discreetly without announcing it to your entire network. This is particularly useful for those who are currently employed but are exploring new job opportunities. Again, if this is you, I have an entire video on this. You could just search it on the YouTube channel, and I can show you how to do that if you're curious about that, okay? So that's an alternative. But let's get back to this open to work mode and it being a sign of desperation. So when we think desperation and the perception from a recruiter or decision maker, here's what desperation looks like. It's a feeling that arises when someone believes they run out of options, have no clear path forward. It often involves intense emotions like fear, anxiety, and hopelessness as one struggles to find a way out of a difficult situation. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. I've been in a mode of we've all been there before, where you feel anxious. You have a feeling of hopelessness. You wonder about paying bills. You wonder about doing things that you need to do to take care of your family and your loved ones. We've been there when it comes to job. We settle. We go to various job boards. We take 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 jobs. We've been in desperation mode. But tonight, I want to challenge you not to settle. And the reason for this community is because we want to stay prepared so we don't have to get prepared. That's the whole premise of us getting together every Tuesday at 8 p.m. so that we can learn more about insights and trends and red flags and warnings and things that are happening, and we can stay prepared. Now, if you find yourself in this situation currently, not to fret. There's no judgment, because again, we've all been there, including myself. If you find that you are in a desperate mode, which means taking its extreme, reckless actions without thinking them through due to intense feeling of anxiety or need. Again, going to those job boards. And again, we have the analogy of throwing spaghetti at a wall. Is it going to stick this time? Is somebody going to call me? Am I going to get an offer? Knowing that sometimes we get those quote unquote rejection. I don't like that word, but just so it resonates, the rejection letters and those letters that say, you're not a fit, or there's more candidates and more qualified, or it's not aligned to what we're looking for. All of those things come from sometimes what I found working with professionals from a mode of desperation. You're making decisions based off of your emotion, right? Intense anxiety, feeling an overwhelming sense of worry, nervousness, or unease about a situation. How many of us have felt like that? We're nervous about a situation. Are they going to lay off? Am I going to be next? Right? That anxiety, and we get out here and we start getting 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 jobs, right? Hopelessness, believing there are no solutions or options left to improve the situation, meaning that, listen, I've been getting all these rejection letters. I've applied 500 times, right? I got 2 interviews. Hopelessness. This can come as a result of desperation. And that means you're making decisions based off emotion versus strategy or logic. And in those cases, that's when you need someone to help you that's on the outside and not bogged down with all the thoughts, all the overanalyzing, all the overthinking, all of the actions that are not working. Someone on the outside looking in to lead and guide you, right? So in my view, despite the potential advantages of the open to work feature, there's a significant drawback. It shifts focus away from your professional value and skills instead of highlighting your current unemployment status. So in my view, it's a distraction message. I know you're open to work. That tells me, oh, you'll be there until you find something. So I'm going to come back to you, right? And I know this doesn't sound right, but I'm telling you how recruiters think. I told you all the story some time ago when I was in a conference room and my VP at the time, she called on me and there was a ton of senior leaders in there and everyone turned around and she said, "Hey, Kelly, what is passive candidates?" And we were explaining to the room what talent acquisition was doing this year to find talent, da, 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 da. They prefer passive candidates, those that are currently working. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show you why. So although being in need of a job might be your current situation, it's important to remember that it's not the most compelling part of your profile, your experience, or your potential. In fact, focusing on your need for employment can be a distraction that hinders potential employers from objectively assessing your suitability for a position. Even if you don't feel desperate, centering your profile around your job seeking status may prevent you from presenting yourself as a dynamic professional. Again, it could be a distraction message versus a message of value. Which do you want to be perceived as? And again, I get it. If you need a job and you're looking for money, sometimes though, because we don't do enough of this, we don't pause. I did a whole video on that as well. You can search that if you're watching on the channel. You can search that because we don't take time to think and get more strategic, play chess and not checkers when it comes to our career and managing our careers. And so sometimes recruiters, when given a choice, often show a preference for hiring candidates who are currently employed over those who are not. This tendency, whether it's a conscious or subconscious bias, is largely based on the perception that an employed candidate is a safer bet. The reasoning is that if a candidate is currently employed, they are likely performing effectively and are up to date with the latest industry trends and practices. This mindset is reinforced by the belief that if another company is actively employing and valuing this individual, it serves as a testament to their proven worth and capabilities. On the other hand, recruiters might have reservations about unemployed candidates concerned with potential issues or baggage that may not be immediately apparent. So they may think that if you're not working, why aren't you working? Did you get fired? Did you get let go? Are you hiding something? Questions might arise about how the last employment ended, their ability to work well in a team, or challenges in verifying their past performance. This can lead to a more cautious approach when considering candidates who are not currently employed. And listen, I'm not saying this is right, but I'm telling you what it is. Perception is what? What's the word? Perception is what? Drop it in the comments. Perception is what? Perception is reality, right? It doesn't matter what we think. Sometimes it doesn't matter right or wrong. Perception is reality. On the other hand, when it comes to the employed, when you're employed, you're a part of a dynamic environment of active professionals, all engaged in their respective roles. Being in this setting, it means the perception is that you are consistently in touch with the latest industry developments, you're actively participating in professional groups, and you're involved in projects that are pertinent to any potential positions you might aspire to in the future. Conversely, if you're unemployed, you might find yourself outside of this active professional loop. This can create a gap, not just in employment, but also in staying current with industry trends, networking opportunities, and ongoing professional development, which can be crucial for your career trajectory. Now, when you're actively seeking employment, there's a perception that your value and your contributions to your industry are lessened. The longer the period of unemployment, the more it may seem like you're drifting away from industry's mainstream. Again, perception. If you're unemployed, they're thinking, well, how are you keeping up with what's happening in your industry? How are you honing your skills, right? How are you learning about everything that's happening in your role, on a team, working in a team environment, the dynamics of working with a team, collaborating with a distributed team. These, again, are perceptions that hiring managers, recruiters have. And so networking isn't just a tool for job hunting, it's an integral part of daily professional life. This is well understood by recruiters and hiring managers. If you're not engaging in regular business activities, there's a risk of becoming less relevant or stale in your field. So this is just basically saying, if your networking is not just telling your friends and your peers and your alumni and people you worked with and people you went to school with, that's also a way of keeping your business skills up to date, right? As time passes, the connections you have with colleagues might weaken. While they may still hold you in high regard, the common ground for professional conversation diminishes. Recruiters are aware of these dynamics and often factor them into their decision making process, emphasizing the importance of maintaining active professional engagement during periods of unemployment. And so we all know this, right? That's why we're scared of career gaps on our resume. I get that all the time. What about the gaps? What about we're going to do about this? We're going to do about this gap, right? Because we know the perception, even though you may have been taking about a parent that was ill or a sibling or taking care of grandkids or whatever the case is. You may have taken a mental wellness break. But again, it's about perception, not right or wrong. It's a perception. The open to work badge on LinkedIn doesn't necessarily add value for the people you're trying to reach, the recruiters and employers with positions to fill, right? Considering LinkedIn functions like a vast search engine like Google, it's unlikely that recruiters are specifically searching for the term open to work. For them, any candidate whose qualifications align with a job requirements is a potential target. Recruiters typically focus on keywords relevant to the job description they're looking to fill. They look for these keywords. Uh-oh, what'd I do? They look for these keywords in your profile's headline, about section, and experience section. They expect to see a description of your professional role accompanied by concrete achievements and ideally quantifiable metrics that substantiate your career story. In this context, the open to work badge might be more of a distraction. Again, we don't want it to be a distraction, okay? So I wanted to share this because I know, again, new year and people may be looking and you might have that badge out there. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm giving you perception, something to think about, and elevating your value versus your search. Let's showcase what it is we have knowledge of, our experience, our successes, our track records, our results, not that we're unemployed. Because what happens is, especially on LinkedIn, I see this all the time, the conversation in the comments, the conversation that people post, it talks about, I'm looking for employment. I've been looking for 3 years. I've put out 500 applications. I've only gotten 2 interviews. It's a distraction and it's a deterrent. I can tell you it's a deterrent for recruiters and decision makers because they're not looking now and wanting to learn more about you and what it is that you do and how you contribute, because this is what they're seeing, right? Even when you're connected to someone on LinkedIn, if you're posting something and they like it, it's going to all of these networks. So again, it's not a bad thing. It's about perception. Perception is reality. So something to think about as we kick off this year. We're heading into the second month of the year. I know that there's some folks that are looking currently and you want to just position yourself as a person that adds value. Even now you can talk about how you're maybe you're volunteering, maybe you're still attending events, or maybe you're part of an organization and you're attending the virtual conversations and forums and things like that. Those are the things that you consistently want to put in front of people to showcase what you're doing and how you're continuing to add value no matter what stage or what status you're in, okay? And if it's something that you need assistance with, if you want to elevate your profile on LinkedIn, I'm happy to help you with that. You can reach out to me. You can go to iamkellyjackson.com. Also, in the description below, there will be a free link to understand more about how you're communicating your value, whether it's on paper, on a resume, or your LinkedIn profile. If you're trying to add everything that you've done throughout your career, if you're providing a history lesson versus a story about your knowledge, about your results, about how you contributed at a high level. That's the structure of your resume. And unfortunately, for those of us that are on the second half, the expectation is that we have the ability to structure our work history in a way that it tells a story. Because if there's a disconnect, it's not resonating with the reader, then it tells a lot about the person, right? Because it's like a first impression. Remember, we used to do the handshake. They say strong handshake, look a person in the eye. That's what your documents do. So you want to assess and see where you are currently when it comes to communicating your value on paper. And then when you're in high impact conversations, like an interview or a presentation or speaking to leadership or networking or small talk, where are you currently? Do you communicate effectively? Right. So that link is below. It's a free assessment. It's about 2 minutes, and it's totally free, and it will assess your the way you communicate. If you communicate, I see a light blinking. That's why I'm like, it's going to shut off. Communicating with value. So again, happy Tuesday. Super excited that you are here. I'm going to join you hopefully in the comments. So leave me a comment. Let me know what your takeaway was from this video today, what you got out of it. Hit that like button if you like what you heard today. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. And we'll see you next Tuesday, same time, same bat channel, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you then.